Hello, welcome to another Real Raw Moment. Today I am going to entitle this, I thought it, but I didn't say it. So bear with me. Again, as always, there's a little backstory to get to the point. And it may not seem to make sense at the beginning, but I promise you it always does. Well, to me anyhow. Today I had to take my daughter in for an emergency appointment at the dentist. Half of her tooth broke off. Her dental hygiene has not been the best. I'll just leave it there. And I was very fortunate that these people were able to see us today. It happened late last night. So I was going into this with an attitude of gratitude, not to be kind of quaint about it. I was very, no, I will say, I was practicing gratitude because the dentist terrifies me. Not her, me. Like I was having a whole almost panic attack vibe just taking her there. So this is a little bit about me, and it will continue to be about me because these are my real moments. So she is in the dentist chair. She's going to have a full root canal. This goes on for a couple hours. Anyhow, I am very fortunate, very, very, very fortunate that my ex-husband has a gold-plated benefits plan for our children, obviously not me, but for our children. And as we all know, dentistry is blinking expensive. So I didn't have the stress of going in there worrying. I was worrying about moving money around. At the same time, I knew logically that this was going to be covered. So I'm going into this being grateful for my ex's job, for the fact that he's providing this coverage through that job, whether or not, it's not linear. It's not like I'm giving thanks for him every day. I am thankful, though, that he is employed in such a way that my children can be taken care of. And I'm not saying this to brag about it, and you'll see what I mean next, about how it can kind of get away from you, or it got away a little bit from me. My daughter's in the dentist chair. She's okay. The receptionist comes over. She asks for some details, like a passcode for the benefits. And she's like, "Oh, that's great. You got this coverage." And in my mind, this knee-jerk reaction was, yeah, well, that's about all her father's good for. What? Whoa, Natalie. Now, if any of you ever watch my videos or hear my real raw moments or read my posts, or I really work hard at being equitable. I work hard at not having knee-jerk reactions. Now, I am human, like the world, so I'm no saint. Like definitely a sinner. It flashed into my mind, and I almost said it. Like it came into me so fast, like zing, oh, Natalie, pull that back. And that is something that I have learned to do. I practice not connecting the thoughts in my brain immediately to my mouth before I have a chance to analyze it. But in that moment, I was having this moment of a little bit of self-pity. And I'll tell you why. My ex was the one who always dealt with teeth. I dealt with surgeries, broken bones, anything else. My kryptonite. And I was, in a way, selfishly angry in the moment that I have to deal with this on my own. Now, listen, I have not been with my ex for 10 years. Yeah, it took 7 years for everything to go on, including alienation. And now I'm re-alienated. But 10 years, a decade. It's been a full decade. Like, how can I not be open to dealing with this? And yet, I somehow wanted to express my distaste, I don't know, for my ex. Because here's the thing. I messaged him and said, look, I need the card. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it on email. My daughter, our daughter has this broken tooth. I got to get her in. And this was late last night. And instead of him inquiring about, is she okay? Like, what's going on? Where are you taking her? Whatever. All I got was an email this morning with the card. Now, for a lot of PA parents, sorry, my nose is very itchy. A lot of PA parents, it actually would be an ideal situation. Look, you didn't have to communicate with them. You didn't have to interact with them. You didn't have to do anything, but you got the benefit. Like, your children got the benefit, right? Like, that's almost a utopian ideal in alienated parents with their alienator. And this person is the re-alienator. So I'm interacting with someone like, yeah, not so fond of right now. But it always hurts that it's so transactional. And when it comes to my children, it's continued to be transactional. And part of me just bubbled up and I wanted a reaction from someone, and I'm not getting it from my ex. I'm not getting what I would want is like, is our daughter okay? What's going on? What happened? Nothing. And I mean nothing. It's been nothing for almost a year. Again, I understand that there's people out there that this would be utopian and great. In my situation, there's different dynamics, as there are always in PA. That's why I stress everybody's got a different story. PA is the common denominator. So sitting in that office, my knee-jerk reaction was to get sympathy. Yeah, well, that's all her dad's good for. Or, you know, if my daughter was sitting there, yeah, you know, because she noticed, like, I didn't have to pay for anything. We just walked out. The cheapest thing I've ever had happen, actually, like in the past year, especially with the economy. And she was a little inquisitive. You know, like, you know, I explained, like, you know, your dad has benefits, it's covered, it's great, we're very fortunate, yada, yada. But I was wanting sympathy in my own way, and this is a human trait. I wanted somebody to say, yeah, Natalie, right? Yeah, like, geez, well, at least you got that. And I can hear people in comments and saying, well, what's the issue? Yes, at least you've got that. But the thing I want to focus on here is I thought it, but I didn't say it. I did not make that knee-jerk connection from my brain, my hurt, my trauma, the need I had in the moment to be recognized, seen, and heard, or all things. I mean, we could go on and on, but I stopped it in its tracks, and then I contemplated it. And I'm grateful for that, because that one statement in front of my daughter, or even to other people, and I've said this in other videos, for me to voice that, I'm putting myself into that space. I'm putting myself into a negative space. I'm putting myself into an antagonistic space. I'm not doing myself any favors by saying it. Yeah, does it feel good? Is it a little bit of a rush because you took your power back, so to speak? Yeah. That's why a lot of us do a lot of, you know, these postings are like, no, yeah, it feels good. Ooh, I feel validated in that moment. At the end of the day, though, you live in that space where you're seeing these things and you're talking that talk. You really are walking that walk. Again, not to be cute about it. It is, you live in that space. So I wanted to share that because I know I talk a lot about, you know, what to say, what to do. I coach people, I mentor people in writing and role playing and all sorts of things within PA, the court system, all sorts of stuff. And I wanted to point out, I'm no different than anybody else. Not that I'm some goddess on a podium. I do have these moments. And I wanted to share it because it really, like, I was so grateful that before I went, bleh, something went, like, I've taught myself and trained myself, and literally it has been training to ensure that these knee-jerk, unproductive comments do not pass my lips, and that I take time to reflect on why I thought that in the first place. And I think I've already explained that here, and I want to be very clear that, you know, whenever I'm talking about this kind of stuff, I do a lot of work. Personal work. I'm in therapy. I do personal work every day. I do a lot of reading, a lot of studying, and I make a really, really strong effort to be the way that I believe serves myself best and my children best and even my ex best. I know, right? Like, I can hear people going like, oh, already up in arms. But it doesn't serve me to tear down my ex. It doesn't. Because what does that make me? It makes me about the same as my alienator. It makes me the same person that I don't like. So I want to share that, and I hope that maybe inspires you to take a moment when you have that knee-jerk reaction within yourself to just, as I always say, take a breath. Take 5. Take a day. It's amazing how, if you can stop this thought process in its tracks, in this way of reacting, you'll find more peace. I know, now I'm talking about peace, right? I know, I get it. I want to hear your comments below. I want to hear your thoughts, good, bad, the ugly. I'm open to anything. And let me know, like, if you've had these knee-jerk reactions, and if you've taken an opportunity to try not have them, and how that's worked for you. And if not, why not? Comment below.